California Democrats talk a big game on protecting the environment, but they're surprisingly silent on a growing environmental crisis in San Diego. Mexico caught dumping its sewage repeatedly into our beaches and bays, and the politicians don't seem to be doing anything to stop it. Coming up, we'll tell you what's happening and how we can protect our environment from Mexico dumping its sewage on us. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and California politicians, the Democrats, are always hooting and hollering about how they're going to save the planet. It always, of course, involves you paying more and getting less. Less convenience, less freedom, less choices, and a higher cost of living. And ironically, as we've covered repeatedly on this podcast, the ideas that the Democrats have proposed to save the environment actually hurt the environment. I mean, these ideas are awful and failures all around. But there's one really clear, open and shut environmental hazard that California politicians, the Democrats in particular, are awfully quiet about. And this problem has been going on actually for decades. And it's been a big one. I'm talking about Mexico dumping its raw sewage on California shores. You may not know about this if you don't live in San Diego, but as a San Diegan myself, I know about it pretty darn well. For the last several decades, the state of Baja California in Mexico, specifically the city of Tijuana, they've decided not to pay for basic sanitary sewage treatment because they know that when they have a sewage spill, which is happening a lot out of their wastewater system, that the water flows north, not south. And because Tijuana is the most northern city, it basically is at the border with San Diego County. The Mexican government says, why should we pay? We're not seeing the impacts to our health or our environment. If the sewage overflows, es bueno. That's what their position has been. I'm old enough to remember a young Imperial Beach mayor named Brian Bilbray in the 1980s was so furious about the repeated leaks of sewage, dumps of sewage into the beaches and bays in Imperial Beach, which is the southernmost little beach city right next to the border with Mexico, that he got on a tractor, a bulldozer, and bulldozed a bunch of dirt into the Tijuana River estuary to block the flow of sewage because the Tijuana sewage plants were dumping their sewage into the Tijuana River, and then it would flow directly out to the Pacific Ocean, and then the tides would take it north, hitting Imperial Beach and so many other San Diego County beaches. The government of the United States said, don't do that. Don't do that. It's offensive. You can't be doing that. You can't be blocking a riverway. And he said, I'm going to block the riverway as long as they dump their damn poo water into that river and contaminate beaches and bays here in America, putting our health at risk, damaging our environment. Bilbray was absolutely right. Later went on to Congress, but the issue remained. Why? Because we've had cowardly, feckless, weak leadership from the federal and state government and local officials, with the exception being Brian Bilbray and a handful of others. So fast forward to 2024. We now have the same problem continuing. Here's just a search for Tijuana sewage. Just go to Google and you'll see all these articles. Here's one from 17 hours ago. Some in this California beach town insist Tijuana River is poisoning them. Officials disagree. Notice how the Democrat politicians and government bureaucrats always say something's bad for the environment unless it's sewage from Mexican government officials. What is it? I'll tell you what it is. They don't want to offend their counterparts And they know that the Mexican government isn't going to do anything about this. County expands health-focused response. This is 3 weeks ago. Tijuana sends sewage over the border. U.S. avoids source of stink. It smells down there really bad. Sandag, the county transportation agency. Yeah, the county transportation agency has nothing to do with the environment, has nothing to do with sewage, but they're taking your taxpayer money, the car tax, the gas tax, a local sales tax, and saying, oh, well, why don't we clean up the sewage water? Excuse me, it's not our sewage water. It's theirs, Mexico's. A few months ago, sewage gushing into sea. U.S. and Mexican border towns plead for help. Well, not the border towns of Mexico, but certainly in America. San Diego State University is out with a report just 6 months ago. Public health crisis unfolds as Tijuana River sewage contamination escalates. I talked to surfers. I talked to lifeguards who are getting rashes. I talked to Border Patrol agents who have to chase illegal immigrants into the Tijuana estuary. And they're getting rashes and illnesses. This is insane. And it's not getting any sort of real action from our politicians. Again, if this were a corporation contaminating beaches and bays, you know damn well that the Democrat politicians would be out there hooting and hollering with press conferences. I'm going to save the environment. But no. What is it about the relationship with Mexico that they bend over backwards? I'll tell you what it is. These politicians are part of the scam of getting cheap labor for their corporations that give them campaign contributions. Anything that interferes with the relationship there, the flow between Mexico and America. Because if you're going to deal with this issue, you have to go hardcore against the Mexican government officials and say, the reason why you're not treating your sewage for the last several decades and preventing these spills is because you don't want to spend the money. So what we need to do is we need to penalize you financially for not doing your job. And when the financial cost of not doing the right thing is greater than doing the right thing, then maybe you will actually clean up your toilet water. So here's my plan to deal with the Tijuana sewage crisis and protect the environment and public health. Number 1, build a toilet bowl. Number 2, make Mexico pay for it. Number 3, close the border any day that one of our beaches have to close on our side of the border because of their sewage. Any questions? Pretty damn simple. And by the way, Brian Bilbray, former Congressman Brian Bilbray, the guy I referenced earlier, who pushed that dirt in the 1980s with a bulldozer into the Tijuana estuary to block the sewage, he helped frame this plan for me. Number 1, build the toilet bowl. I do believe that we need to just go in and build a complete treatment and retention system in that riverbed so that the sewage can't flow out, that it's actually treated and released properly to environmental and health standards. Now, we should tell the Mexican government before we build this, you have one chance and one chance only to do this job yourself. But if you don't, we're going to just go ahead and do it. And our approach is going to be more expensive because it's a lot easier to treat the sewage at the source than to try to have to build a retention system and capture and treat and then release the water afterwards. Give them 30 days to respond. Not more than 30 days, period. Andale. Get a decision over here. Second, they're going to have to pay for it one way or another. It's their sewage water. So whether we build it or they build it, they're going to have to pay for it. And you can do this through a number of mechanisms. How about we tax remittances that illegal immigrants are sending to Mexico? Ooh, wow. Third, punish them. For every day that the water quality table indicates that sewage has made the waters off our shore unsafe for people to go in and swim, and we have to close a beach. And by the way, Imperial Beach, Coronado beaches, San Diego County beaches are closed half of the year, in part because of the sewage, half the year. So any one day that any 1 inch of our beaches are closed because Mexican sewage contaminated the ocean and the beaches and bays, we're going to close the border. No crossings. Lo siento. De nada. No crossings. Sorry, you can't come across the border because there's an environmental contamination happening. We wouldn't want you to get sick now, would we? Oh, you're damn right I'm pissed. Absolutely. These people are worthy of mocking. They are actually bad neighbors, dumping their poo water right on our front door. And we're sick of it, literally sick of it. But California Democrat politicians, they're doing nothing. And so I, as an incoming member of the state legislature representing the border, I intend to make this one of my priority issues and raise hackles about it. Plus, I think the voters need to know that Republicans, we care for the environment. Our ideas are just much more effective and efficient and get the job done on real environmental issues, like stopping the Tijuana sewage crisis. Look, I can't do this alone. Please go onto our website, reformcalifornia.org. That's reformcalifornia.org. Chip in a contribution. Help me get this message out. Help me win my race, but also help us get other candidates elected top and bottom on the November ballot. Please also check out our voter guide, our plain English voter guide with descriptions of everything that's on your ballot. Remember, the politicians are lying to you with false and misleading ballot titles. We give you the plain English description on everything on your ballot. Plus, we expose over 470 local tax hikes on local ballots throughout the state. Go to reformcalifornia.org, click under voter guide, and please chip in a contribution to help us do all this great work. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.